I'm Nathan Schmidt. I'm CEO of Deal Co-op. I'm almost a little embarrassed to admit that I've never been to a Birmingham entrepreneur meeting before. I'm a huge advocate of this kind of thing. I think that the community supporting entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs supporting each other is essential to Birmingham. And so I think groups like this are great, and I thank you for coming out, not to support me, but just entrepreneurship in general. And thank you to Innovation Depot too. This building, if you haven't spent much time here, and I really hadn't until a few months ago, is an amazing resource for this city. Anytime you start a company and you have a few people and you go isolate them somewhere, it's tough. And by being able to bring them into a shared collective work environment where you have access to resources and access to other companies is essential. And I'm just thrilled to be here. So thanks again for the intro. And I hope this will be fun because I haven't been to one of these before. I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to talk about or the do's and don'ts. So we're going to go freestyle a little bit. Please feel free to cut in at any point if you have a question. Please interrupt. Just speak up. I'm a pretty open book. I'm happy to talk about whatever you would like. So with that in mind, I kind of have a few things that I'd like to talk about. First is my journey as an entrepreneur, which is in no means finished. I'm not heading back to my yacht or to my mansion. We're in the middle of things right now, but up until this point, I've had some fairly rich experiences that I'm happy to share with you. So I'll tell you how I got started. I'll talk a little bit about TechStars, a program that I participated in. It was a pretty amazing experience as well. And then maybe we'll tell some stories, or I'll tell you some lessons that I learned along the way. My entrepreneurial experience started at a law school. I went from KU Law to study abroad in London. I met my wife there. She was from Birmingham, not the Birmingham you would expect. She was from Birmingham, Alabama, not Birmingham, England. So I went to London to meet a Birmingham girl. We fell in love. She was in law school too. We were sitting around one night having a glass of wine, and we thought, you know what? We really don't want to be lawyers. Like, well, what could we do? And I said, well, I like to make websites. And she said, well, I really, really like food. And sometimes the smallest conversation, or what seems like a fairly insignificant decision at the time, can branch off, we all make these decisions, into a decade or more of your life. And that was the case in that point. The roots of my entrepreneurism were in a silly conversation late at night over a glass of wine with my wife. And next thing you knew, we called our parents and said, thanks for sending us to law school, but we're not going to practice law. Didn't go over that well. But we were able to prove them wrong. We moved to Birmingham. We started birminghammenus.com. Our concept was extremely simple. We went to local restaurants. We really liked working with locals. And we said, for $100 a month, we'll build your website and we'll promote you on birminghammenus.com. And we signed up a lot of restaurants. I was the first web designer for places like Hot and Hot and Ocean and Little Savannah and the Bright Star. So we designed a lot of the first, almost a decade ago, or I think it was a decade ago, websites for restaurants here in Birmingham. But then we ran into a problem. And that was after we accumulated 30 or 40 restaurants, we found out that they loved to feed us, but they hated to pay us. And so we were having trouble paying the rent, but we were eating crab cakes like every night. And so our entrepreneurism kicked in, and we came up with a concept. We went to the restaurants, and this is 8 years ago, and said, your food costs are 40%. So if you're going to feed us, you need to feed us more than you're paying us. We'd like $250 a month in food as opposed to $100 in cash. And we're not going to eat all of that food. We're going to sell that online in the form of gift certificates. So we came up with the Birmingham Menus quarterly gift certificate sale 4 times a year for the last 8 years. This still goes on. We aggregate all the trade that we have in very limited quantities, put it up on the web, and people go at 7 in the morning and purchase it. And we keep the money. It pays for what we do. That moment and that decision was really what took my wife and I out of living in an apartment downtown to buying a home and raising a family. And so that was a pretty monumental decision to forego cash and move into trade. And it worked out really well. In fact, we didn't really realize how right we were because we're going to spend a minute talking about Groupon and the daily deal phenomenon. In 2007, my wife, our first son was born, Elliot, and my wife stepped away from the business. And right at that time, my brother, my development skills is I have an anthropology undergrad and a law degree, and I can work my way around code, but I'm not a phenomenal developer. But my brother, who is 7 years younger than me and always had an older brother that loved computers, is a very good developer. He has a CS degree from North Carolina and was working at ESPN. And we were talking one night, and we wanted to take all of these ideas that I had had over the last few years in the online printable gift certificate space and kind of formalize those and turn them into a real product and go try to make a run at being a serious startup technology company. And so that's what we did. We founded InstaGift. He and I were co-founders of that company in 2007. We really took the things that I had been doing and put good software behind it, came up with a few very well-packaged products, took them to market, expanded to 15 or so cities, and were able to bootstrap into a profitable company. And InstaGift, was a good experience with my brother and a great start into the market. And then something happened. And let me take a drink, and I still have to swallow hard when I think about what happened. Mm-hmm.
What was InstaGift? What did this do?
It handles online printable vouchers. And so it basically converts trade into cash. And so if you have a bunch of trade and you want to, like we did with Birmingham Menus, and you want to sell it online as gift certificates, it facilitates gift certificate sales. So it's a gift certificate management company. It kind of empowers a lot of when we expanded into a lot of organizations like restaurant associations. They were having trouble collecting dues. And so what they did is they aggregated a bunch of trade from all their restaurants that they were trying to collect dues from and used our software to sell that trade online in the form of gift certificates. So a gift certificate management company. And so we were in the world of online printable discount gift certificates. That's what InstaGift does. And then something happened in about 2008. That something was Groupon. Groupon changed the metrics for companies like ours, forever. Groupon's software wasn't any better than ours, but their idea was better. I had been going to restaurants for years and saying, give me $1,000 in trade and I'll build you a website. Groupon went to that same business and said, give me an unlimited amount of trade for a small amount of time, usually 24 or 48 hours, and I'll tell everybody I know about it, and Groupon's got lots of people on email, and then we'll split the money. We'll sell it at a discount and split the money. And that small innovation, it wasn't a software innovation, I could have gone and told that same story to any business I ever talked to. That small tweak created what many call the fastest growing company in the history of mankind, which is, it's phenomenal what they've done. And so we recognized that we had expertise in this online gift certificate industry. We really enjoyed working with local organizations and empowering them to do cool things with gift certificate technology. And so kind of on that philosophy, we applied to TechStars. And TechStars is an accelerator. And there's a distinction between, I didn't really understand the distinction between an incubator like Innovation Depot and an accelerator like TechStars. Innovation Depot is a place where lots of little companies come together, and the city supports it, and UAB supports it, and hopefully some of the next great companies in Birmingham will be born out of this place. Give people access to common resources. Devin and Susan are amazing and coming around and giving us support. An accelerator is a little bit different than that. You go for 3 months, and it's like a boot camp for technology startups. That's what TechStars is. And so for 3 months, I left my family, and I moved to Seattle to participate in this program. And it's very mentor-driven, and it's incredibly intensive. It's amazing when you have a family and you can step out of that and do nothing but focus on your company. If I thought I worked hard in college, it doesn't compare to how hard we were able to work for those 3 months on our company. So a little bit of the nitty-gritty about TechStars. There are 500 applicants for 10 spots. We were lucky enough to be chosen as one. TechStars gets 6% equity in our company. That's how they pay the bills. They gave us $18,000 in return to move to Seattle. Most of the TechStars companies were pre-revenue. They hadn't made any money before. We were a little bit unique in that we already came in as a functioning company with some revenue. But we moved to Seattle. The program concluded with Demo Day, which is 300 angel and VC investors coming to hear our pitch. And TechStars is all about the pitch. From the first day that I stepped up to TechStars and introduced myself, I had to give the elevator pitch of our company. We went through 3-minute pitch sessions and 5-minute pitch sessions and 8-minute pitch sessions. It concluded with Demo Day, which was me standing on a stage in a Steve Jobs PowerPoint, not completely unlike this, explaining our company for 10 minutes and hoping to get investors on board. But the pitch of our company, the new company we started at TechStars was called Deal Co-op. And the Deal Co-op pitch is this. Deal Co-op is a white label group buying platform. That means we can turn anybody into Groupon almost overnight. And we think the future of the daily deal industry lies at really local levels. Entrepreneurs and small-time publishers connecting really targeted audiences to merchants in a way that's meaningful. So we're still a software company, but we want to be the ones that power the daily deal industry, that empower small organizations to monetize using the same mechanisms that Groupon is using so effectively. Thanks, TechStars, for making me better at giving my pitch. The first pitch I ever gave at TechStars, I thought I knew my company. It's amazing how many people have a company and don't really know what it does. And when we showed up at TechStars on day one, we realized that we didn't understand our company as well as we thought we did. The day-to-day life at TechStars was fairly interesting. This is a picture of our office. It's a little bit dark, but basically think of a big football field where all of the companies are on the field. And each company is represented by 2 or 3 desks. Most of the companies came with 2 or 3 people. And everybody's in a common area. And so the collaboration and the camaraderie and the creativity is off the charts when you kind of pack people in like this. The executive director, Andy Sack, was able to bounce around from company to company and on a day-by-day basis just weigh in on what was happening and participate in our company and give us advice. And the day-to-day, during the day we would work on our company, and then we had amazing work sessions at night. And so the program is very mentor-driven. In our office space, I wish I would have a picture of it, but we're on the 2nd floor. In the basement, someone started a bar, and they ran out of money, and they couldn't finish it. And so TechStars got the space. And so in the basement, we had this unfinished speakeasy-type bar called the Easy. And it had a bar, and it had a poker table, and a pool table, and a ping pong table, and a dartboard. And it was unfinished. It was kind of raw. And we could go there and blow off steam whenever we wanted to. And it's an unbelievable office space. But what would happen at night is the 20 or 30 founders of these companies at TechStars would head into the Easy, and then different CEOs and influential tech people would come in and would spend really quality time with us. So Wesley Chan, who invented Google Analytics and Google Voice, came and talked to us. And Andy Jassy, the number 3 guy at Amazon, came and talked to us. And Brad Feld from the Foundry Group came in a few times. And David Cohen, the founder of TechStars. It really was. TechStars is, a lot of things, but one of the things it is a lens that allows people that are pulled a lot of different directions normally to really be able to give back, because entrepreneurs and founders really want to give back, and TechStars is a way that they can do that. And we were the beneficiaries of that as founders. We would hang out in the basement, do presentations. They usually last an hour or an hour and a half. Typically, the people that would present to us would stick around for a few hours afterwards and meet with the companies. And one of the goals of TechStars is to really engage with a group of mentors, maybe 2 or 3 lead mentors, and engage with them very deeply, and then 7 or 8 other people in kind of your group. So you try to form a community of mentors that can dig deep with your company, really give you advice. And so the mentors that would come in and speak would stick around, engage with different companies. And in that experience, being able to get the time of people that normally wouldn't give you time and let them give you really advice about your business was great. Brad Feld was our lead mentor throughout the program. For those of you that have heard of Brad before, he's a hard guy to get his attention, but he gave us a lot of attention, which was phenomenal. Glenn Kelman was our other lead mentor. He's CEO of Redfin, which is a real estate company that's in Seattle. So the mentorship aspect of TechStars is really amazing, and I think something that really makes it unique. After these sessions, we would typically go back to work, and the work would last until 2 or 3 in the morning. And probably my favorite part of the TechStars experience were those late night work sessions. A few of the companies would go home. For the ones that stayed, there's kind of magic that happens when you're dug into your company and you're in your 15th hour and it's 2 in the morning. A lot of things get built right then, and being around with other creative people during that time is really cool. So late night sessions were probably my favorite part of TechStars. Every once in a while, somebody would surprise you. A mentor would show up and come and just really hang out with you late at night. Those were really cool. At 11:11 every Wednesday, we did whiskey 11:11 meetings. And Andy Sack would come in, the director, and we would do a shot of whiskey and talk about wins and losses for the week. And little things like that built a feeling that was pretty hard to miss, hard to beat, and it's something that I will cherish throughout my career. It was incredible.
Okay, so were you working on your own company, like doing business plans, or you were actually doing the business, or you were helping each other?
We were building our company Deal Co-op. And so we had this idea that we can be the company that powers the daily deal industry if you don't have any experience running a daily deal business. And so we were building that company. And so really,
Or just getting all the software and stuff together?
for us, we were building software. We actually did start to do some marketing because we wanted to get some clients and customers and kind of test how they used our software. We got some coverage about halfway through TechStars and TechCrunch, which is a very well-known blog. It's like the Wall Street Journal of tech blogging. They covered us. We had hundreds of people come in and want to use our software. We wouldn't have got that experience if TechStars hadn't been there. So see, every aspect of building a company, nothing was out of bounds. It's our company. We can do whatever we want. But we were just working on our company and had amazing resources around us to help it grow.
So did you have, like you said, you're not that tech savvy, I guess your brother was helping you with this. So did you have to actually build it yourself? Did you have people there who were helping you, programmers and whatnot, or you were doing it all yourself?
We did it all.
Just learning how to do it? Or?
Well, my brother's a great programmer, so he was writing our code. I was working on business development. We were, from doing branding to putting together business plans. Every little bit of a business, when there's only a few of you, there's a lot to be done, and we were kind of hitting every side. I just think this picture is really cool. We had a retreat about halfway through TechStars up in the mountains. The guy at the top here is Keith Smith. He's CEO of Big Door. It's a gamification company. To his right in the gray shirt's Andy Sack. He was our executive director. And we got invited to Keith's cabin, which is up in the mountains. And this is like at 1 a.m. We had been drinking whiskey, but instead of just partying, this guy on the left up here is Greg Gottesman. He's a VC, a founder of Madrona, a VC firm. And it's 1 a.m. We've been drinking whiskey, and all anybody wants to do is just sit around and talk about investing. And so Greg's over here talking about the ins and outs of venture capitalism. And it's moments like this, like late at night, and you've had a few drinks, but you're engaged about a fundraising process that, these are the moments that makes the 6% equity in TechStars worth every penny. This was one of my very favorite nights at TechStars. Demo day came and went. We did well. We were one of the better presentations, or so the press said. We were the first company to close an investment round after TechStars. We were invited to stay in Seattle and stay in the TechStars space, which is an honor. Not many companies were invited to do that. And we did. We decided we were going to headquarter our company out of Seattle. And so my brother stayed there. We started to hire out of Seattle. And I was traveling there on a fairly regular basis. My family's here, and I can't really leave. So I was kind of the wayward CEO living in Birmingham. It wasn't until recently, I wish Devin was here so I could give him his props. Once we found this space and saw what was happening at Innovation Depot, the light went off for me, and I said, oh, the kinds of things that I need now as an entrepreneur, experiencing what I had at TechStars, other companies around me, really great resources, support from the community. I finally have those things, and I didn't really know about this place. Kind of like Birmingham Entrepreneur. I feel bad about it. But we're now headquartering out of Birmingham, and we're leaving Seattle. I'll still travel there to meet with investors, but we're so pleased with this space that we are staying here in Birmingham. We're going to be hiring about 10 people over the next 2 months. That's sales, support, Ruby on Rails developers. If you know any Ruby developers, please send them my way. And we've got great office space, and I can't wait to grow here. And we also have an amazing partnership that we started about 6 months ago with the Super Deal, which is a daily deal site here in Birmingham. And it's one of the few cases that you'll find in a top 50 market where local guys, local entrepreneurs are competing with Groupon on a day-to-day basis. I think our deals are better, our pitch to businesses are better, and because we have the software that we've been working on all this time, we have a legitimate back end to these systems. And so my business partners with Super Deal are Jay Barker and Patrick Knowles. Those guys go handle sales and do an amazing job. We work on the software, but this Super Deal partnership has been extremely meaningful to our business. So kind of the combination of Innovation Depot, the support it's giving us, what's happening with Super Deal. There are a lot of good reasons for us to be and stay in Birmingham, and so we're going to be here. People ask me a lot, I want to start a company. How do I finally jump in? How do I do it? There isn't any magic answer to this, but I have a few things that I think are the ways to go about it. You definitely don't underestimate the desire of other founders to give back and to weigh in on your idea. If anybody ever walked into my office and said, I want to start a company, what do you think about this? I'd be more than happy to talk to them, and I think that's probably the case with most of the companies here, and it's probably the case with CEOs or founders of really big companies. I think there's really a desire to give back to the community. So if you have an idea for a company, go talk to other people that can help you, because I think that they will. And I think that's the place you should start. You'll have no trouble getting feedback for the ideas that you have. We were able to bootstrap our company from day one. That's not realistic for everyone. I mean, we were coming out of college and we didn't have any debt, we didn't have any expenses, we could bootstrap. It's typically, my advice and the advice you get at TechStars to bootstrap if you can. But if you can't bootstrap and you have a really good idea, that doesn't mean that you're out of luck. If you have a mortgage and if you have kids, I used to tell people like, I could never start a business now because I have too many responsibilities. And after TechStars, I know that that's not true. If you have a really good idea, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to the community, like to follow it, I think. And there's a lot of opportunities out there to go raise money if you need to. I mean, put together a business plan, decide how much you need to pay yourself, include your own salary as part of the business plan, start shopping it around to accelerators like TechStars or to rich people in the community and see if they'll invest in you. I mean, you're simply an investment to somebody that's got a lot of money and has a diverse portfolio of investments. So be prepared to give up some of your company. Usually in an early round like that, if you're raising a few $100,000, you're going to give up 20 to 33% of your company, has been my experience. No matter how hard you think it's going to be harder than that by several multiples. People say all the time to me like, oh, it must be great to set your own hours. I mean, and it is great to set your own hours. But I think about my business all the time, every day. And my wife tries to engage with me at night, and she's like, where's your head at right now? I'm like, it's in the company, of course. And so business is it's a lot of hard work, more than you think it's going to be. But if you have a good idea, there are a lot of avenues, and there's a lot of support. And this is evidence of support. And Innovation Depot is evidence of support. There's accelerators, not just TechStars, all over the country that are evidence of support. You have options, and I really encourage you to follow your passion if you have an idea. So this is the story that may or may not get me in trouble, but this is our lead mentor at TechStars. This is Kelman. Glenn is an extremely interesting guy. We would meet with him at coffee shops typically, and he's the most soft-spoken, mild-mannered person I've ever met until he's not. And then he can turn on a dime, and it's unbelievable. But one of our first meetings at TechStars, we were very green, and we were meeting with Glenn. And he liked us. He was being so nice to us. And we were sitting in a coffee shop, and Glenn goes, he's looking at our site. He goes, guys, I just love what you're doing. It's so nice. Your stuff looks so good. Oh, you guys are so smart. Like, this looks wonderful. He goes, you know what? I need to set you up with James Slavit. He's at Greylock. It's a VC in the Valley. I think he'd really, really like your stuff. Greylock is one of the biggest venture firms in Silicon Valley. And we had really, at this point, no business talking to Greylock. They participated in Groupon's $1 billion fundraise. And so we started to waffle with Glenn a little bit. And we're like, what do we say? What do you want us to do? And then he snapped. And he's like, guys, you tell them this is GFIHC, the greatest fucking idea in the history of capitalism. He's like, I gotta go. And then he walked out. And I remember the walk back very well. This was a kind of a shocking experience. And I'm like, what do we do with this? Like, how do we make of this thing? So we shot James Slavit an email and said, we'd hate for you to miss out on the greatest fucking idea in the history of capitalism. And we got a smiley in return, and he set up a meeting with us. And we sat down and talked to him, and we weren't ready for VC funding, but he was extremely nice to us. And if I ever go raise a Series A, he's on the Rolodex. I can go talk to him. Maybe he'll invest in us. Maybe he won't. But the real lesson here, I don't think, was that you need to curse at people and be that provocative. I think the lesson was more that you really need to believe in what you're doing. Like, you can finally get the pieces together, and it could be time to go raise some money. But you need to have confidence in what you're doing. And those are the lessons of TechStars. I mean, if all of you were investors right now, and I knew you all had $10 million or more, I do believe that Deal Co-op, I think you'd be crazy not to invest in us. I think that we're one company that understands the future of the daily deal market more than anyone. I think that we get that local entrepreneurs are where it's at, that we've got better software than anybody else. I think we're a freaking rocket ship, and I think you need to get involved. Like, that was an example. But I do believe those things. That would be my pitch to you if you were investors. And And I think that being confident in what you do and understanding what you do as a company and presenting that with confidence is extremely important. And those are lessons that we learned at TechStars that I think were extremely valuable. And I thank Glenn for shaking us a little bit when we met in the coffee shop. So we're probably got a few minutes to wrap up. A lot of times people ask me, what's the craziest thing or the funniest thing that happened at TechStars? So there's no big lesson in this one. It's just, I know this story's fun. So we'll end on kind of a fun note. Giant Thinkwell was one of the companies that was with us at TechStars. Two crazy guys ran this company, Kevin and Kyle. Kevin is a good developer. Kyle is a graphic designer, an amazing illustrator. You can tell his logo looks great. This is their idea. They wanted to build Facebook games for celebrities in the style of a Tamagotchi. And a Tamagotchi are like little pets that you used to have on your keychains that originated in Japan. Like you push a button and feed them, or you push a button to give them water, or you push a button to tell them to go to sleep. And if you take care of them, appropriately, they grow. And if you don't, they get sick and maybe they die. And so they started Facebook games for B-list celebrities was their idea. And what they wanted to do was they wanted you to start, they were infatuated with John Stamos. And so these guys, they made it into TechStars on this idea that they wanted you to get into Facebook, start to raise a small John Stamos, and over time he would grow up to be Uncle Jesse from Full House, or he would get sick. And they spent the entire time at TechStars on this John Stamos idea, and they had the best time. We'd all be working on our serious things, and these guys are over in the corner drawing pictures of Stamos and trying to get to him. Their goal in TechStars for Demo Day was to have Stamos there to introduce them. They were sure this was going to happen. And for the life of them, they couldn't get through to John Stamos. They got through to Punky Brewster. They got through to Hammer, MC Hammer. Sir Mix-a-Lot came to the office several times to work on a project, which was surreal. Jason Mesnick from The Bachelor, he came to the office a lot. He was working with them. But they got through to some celebrities because their whole company was built around celebrity games. They couldn't get to Stamos. And so their Demo Day presentation was about John Stamos. He wasn't there to present it. And they were kind of heartbroken about this. So there's a Birmingham connection to the story, which is extremely odd. I hadn't seen my wife in over 2 months, and I was coming home from TechStars, and she was getting a haircut because she wanted to look good because her husband was coming home. She hadn't seen him in 2 months. And she was in Homewood at the hair place, and she was talking to the woman that cuts her hair, and she told her about these Stamos guys. And her friend says, oh, I was in Nashville a couple nights ago with my really good friend. As it turns out, she's friends with John Stamos, and they were texting each other all night. And so Jen says, oh, can we get him a note through this channel? And she said, well, we can try. So I called Kevin and Kyle, and I said, can you write up a letter to John Stamos, give it to me, I'll give it to my wife, she'll give it to her hairdresser, who will give it to her friend, who will give it to John Stamos. And that's exactly what happened. And so John Stamos got the letter. He liked the idea. They set up a meeting with these guys, and they totally blew the meeting, and John Stamos hated their product. And the thing there's no happy ending to this story. The reason that they blew it, this is, I guess is maybe a lesson in this, is they went in and said, oh, we're so glad you're here. We've got Punky Brewster, and we've got MC Hammer, and we've got Jason from The Bachelor, and we've got Sir Mix-a-Lot, and we can't wait to have you on board. And in a celebrity's mind, maybe all of our minds, there's a pecking order of people we would like to work with. And the second you say you want to work with these guys and you see yourself as somewhere up here and them down here, it doesn't become as appealing. So he lost interest in the project based on the way they presented it to him. But this company went on. One theme throughout TechStars, and I think for any investor really, is oftentimes they're investing in the team as much as they're investing in the idea. TechStars, because companies are pre-revenue, people change their mind all the time, and a lot of times you're just coming in because they think you're a really solid team. This team took investment from Madrona, a VC fund in Seattle, hired multiple people. They're building real products and doing real things. And so because these guys came in and they just had a ton of energy and they were completely committed and they were executing on a really high level over a silly idea, they've gone on to grow a company. So that's the fun story to conclude. That's all I've got, guys, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.